I'm Jan Lowinski. I'm from Poland and I work with Hugues de Riedmatten. We work on Rydberg ensembles. We try to understand how light interacts with a very large group of atoms that are disordered, which is the difference, let's say, with lattices where the atoms are at fixed positions. We work with atoms, but what matters for us is that we work with many atoms, which makes the things a bit different. That's why I say ensembles. What they give you is that fairly easily you get very strong coupling between light and matter because there are many atoms involved in the process. But as always, if you have many things involved in some process, the things get complex. So I think there is quite a bit of rich physics that is kind of a bit understood, but not fully understood on this, what happens when the really large group of atoms interact with light. I would say there are two main things that people are interested in Rydberg atoms is this strong interactions, and one of the consequences of this interaction is this blockade effect. In general, Rydberg atoms are just atoms excited to very high energy level, which makes them already physically very large. But because they become very large, if you have more of them, they start interacting with each other very strongly. And in particular, in our case, these strong interactions also lead to something that is called blockade. I think the most challenging in general in physics is when something doesn't work and you don't know why. This is still kind of okay if you manage to figure out a method how to get rid of this problem. Maybe you don't understand why it doesn't work, but if you have a recipe that makes it work again, you're happy. But there are the situations that it just stops working and starts working seemingly at random. I mean, there is a cause for this for sure, but the systems are so complex that you don't know. I think we can come up with solutions together. We almost all use atoms in some sense. So there is a lot of, in fact, methods how to cool atoms and trap atoms, how to work with atoms. And sometimes people manage to do something that I tried to do 10 times, and each time I failed. I just go to talk to them, and it turns out that they figure out this one particular trick, and it starts working. But there's a lot of knowledge that's very difficult to pass in an article or in a book, but it's a very relevant knowledge when you just run an experiment. Just the simple tricks that made your experiment work and might help others. When I studied physics, my main subject of interest was solid state, which in the end, when I was doing my master's thesis, I realized it's not for me. It's not for me. And then I abandoned science for some time. And then I came back with thinking that I would like to work for so-called quantum information processing. And this is what exactly my group does. And the project which I was offered was with cold atoms. And then I realized that, in fact, what I like the most about my experiment is not this quantum information processing part, but more like quantum optics, atomic physics part. It's much less technical, it's much less about application, and it's much more about just trying to understand physical phenomena. So my idea would be maybe to get some real life skill, like data analysis, AI, something that is fairly close to from what I do now, and then get trained in some private company, corporation, wherever. And when I become a senior in a particular topic, I just go to some non-governmental organization, and I try to use these skills to help them.